What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome in to episode number 254 and the final one of 2022 of the number 9 ranked in terms of NCAA podcasts. The number 9, maybe higher, because he is alive, Deej. He did retweet our teaser, Shrek ranked, and honorably mentioned in terms of awards. And of course, viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box Podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB and Deej coming at you for an end-of-year spectacular, and got a lot to talk about on this episode. We're going to dive into our fun New Year's Eve and New Year's Eve matchups in the NLL. Short little slate for Week 5 this year, but some very good matchups, some fun storylines as well. We also got breaking news this morning that a living legend is now an assistant coach for the Redwoods Lacrosse Club. We're going to talk about that. And like we did last year, we did it again this year. And it seems like we're going to be doing it for years to come. It is the end of year, New Year's Eve fun collab that you've all loved. It's OTB, Back of the Bird, back at it again, Volume 2. Myself, Deej, Paul Dawson, Dan Lomas. And for a hot minute in the background of the studio, producer Donnie was there. And then he dipped when Lomas's microphone died. That was fun. We have an hour-long riff, fun discussion about just everything lacrosse, and then just some fun stuff as well with the boys. That has been one of my favorite podcast friendship developments, is us collabing with them now for the last 2 years. It felt shorter than an hour. It's probably some of the best content that's ever going to be put on this podcast feed. So enjoy it. It's a fun way to wrap up the year with the proud parents that are Back of the Bird.
Yeah, we might have to try and get in with Beast and Scotty to open.
That would be fun.
Open up PLL, so then we kind of got half year, end of the year. Boom, this is us. These are our collabs, our guys. I don't know. We'll work something out with that, but dude, I loved getting with the guys with Back of the Bird. That's, like you said, it's always fun and kind of just a good time to talk to them and behind the scenes, and not so much X's and O's and about a game that just happened or a couple games. Just
dove deep into
regular stuff. Yeah, we just talked regular stuff, regular lacrosse. And it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. So definitely, if you listen to anything on this episode, I recommend the hour there. And then we'll also be talking about the long-awaited rankings. Colin Squire's Airline Rankings official final 2022 list was put out today as we record this on Thursday. And then Jack Rowlett's in Disney, and we're going to try and see if we can find how many autographs he's acquired so far. And then obviously we'll talk a little end of year, some stuff we got planned for 2023, not only with OTB, but just the company in general. Just tease it for the people. But before we get started, make sure you're following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod, Twitter, Instagram. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. It truly does help the show keep growing. It sucks that there's no subcategory for lacrosse for podcast categories. So we're just bunched into all the sports. So we need all the help we can get for people, finding us and getting us on the charts, because, like golf, getting the whole boys, they get a little bit of a boost because there are golf charts. You look at baseball, there are baseball charts. Basketball, there's basketball charts. There's no niche sub chart for lacrosse. We just get bunched into all the sports. So we're going toe to toe with Bill Simmons and Part of My Take and stuff like that. So help us out. Help us out. Leave those 5-star reviews. It takes like 2 seconds to do it. And then, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia. We are at 334 subscribers with 2 days left in 2022 to hit our tempered expectation goal of Trey Fitty. Help us get there. We might be doing an OTB cast Friday night while you guys are listening to this. We might have a shit ton of PLL cards to open up during the OTB cast. That OTB cast might be for Halifax Thunderbirds at Buffalo Bandits, where there's a ton of #OurGuys on those teams. Subscribe. I'll say that if we get to 340 subscribers before that game, we will 100% do it. 100%. We'll make it happen. Maybe we'll bring in guests too from our company, just to enjoy some lax if they've got the old ESPN Plus to come kick it with the boys. But you got to subscribe. YouTube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia. Smash that like button, ring the bell icon, comment down below your thoughts on everything we talk about on this episode, your favorite lacrosse moments of 2022 and beyond. And of course, make sure you get your merch. PHI Apparel Company, the best place to get your merch. It's the official home to all of the Outside the Box podcast merch, and there's no doubt you're going to stand out at the arena, going on the PLL weekends, when you're at the bar, wherever you may be, when you're rocking your official OTB merch. You guys can go to phiapparel.co and use code underground at any time for 10% off your order at phiapparel.co or Deej through the end of the year. You only got a limited time here. Through the end of 2022. You can use code 2022 and get 25% off merch. 25% off merch with code 2022. That includes our merch, especially if you get our merch. That helps big time. But you can get 25% off an OTB shirt right now. Bang, done. Code 2022. I don't know if you can stack our code with that code or not. So I'm not going to say one way or another, yes or no, but get your merch. It's the most effective and direct way to support everything Deej and I do for this show. Helps us out when we're going to PLL weekends. Plus, we want to see you guys wearing OTB merch out in the wild. Like, we got the boy Josh wearing it in Oregon. We're coastal, baby. We're bi-coastal. So go get your merch. phiapparel.co. Code underground for 10% off anytime, any place, anywhere. And, of course, right now, through the end of the year, code 2022 for 25% off merch. You don't get codes like that, people. Get your merch. Deej, we've got a short but fun weekend of NLL action. Week 5 on the horizon. I don't know why they categorize it as Week 5. If somebody smarter than me knows. Obviously, there's no games on the holiday break last week. Hope everybody had a safe, happy holiday that you celebrate. But I guess because that is Week 4, even though nobody's playing, so I guess that's it. But
that's it.
Still silly to me. It messes with the OCD.
You just overcomplicate yourself.
No, it's just like when you're looking at the website though, and you see the visual and it says Week 3, and then it's like Week 5. It's like, where'd the foe go?
Well, it was the week that don't exist.
It's like the song. It's like, here comes the 1 to the 3 to the. And the song just pauses. And then it's like, this song not available in your area. The 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 5.
I haven't experienced that song. That's a new one. I think it's okay. Not a big deal. I think you overcome.
No, it's a very minor thing, but it is funny. It is funny that it just jumps from 3 to 5. We're counting by odd numbers. Next week will be Week 7.
No, it's going to be Week 5.5.
5 3/4. No, that's for Week 9. Week
Right?
9 3/4. The real ones know what we're talking about.
Can only hit pipes and bars.
You can only hit brick walls.
Pipes and bars are
you can only run into the goalies during Week 9 3/4. You go right through them. 3 games, though, this week for Week 5. Halifax at Buffalo on Friday night at 7:30, and then at 9 Eastern. Nice little 9 o'clock start, West Coast. Thank you. Thank you for that. San Diego at Calgary, and then New Year's Eve, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Panther City at Saskatchewan. That's your schedule for this week. Very fun matchups. Halifax, Buffalo is obviously, 2 juggernauts on paper, and the way they've been playing, pretty much juggernauts in Buffalo. So Buffalo gets to, have one more wild hoedown, throwdown in 2022 before they jump through the metaphorical table that is 2023. San Diego at Calgary, I think, is the biggest storyline game because you have the 3 former Roughnecks coming back to Calgary, and obviously the first time for Curtis Dixon since leaving in free agency. I feel bad for Calgary fans, man. Just from the aspect of like their team is still very good. Like they still have very solid players and young players. But like it's got to feel weird that like 3 of your like franchise superstars over the last 5 years have left for the same team, and now they're coming back together, playing in that building for that new team. Like I just feel like what type of Twilight Zone am I living in?
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird, yeah. But, like, I don't think they're too pressed about it. I think they kind of maybe.
That's like if LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh were all playing in Cleveland and then all went to Miami together.
I think it would be like – I think they're pressed about Curtis Dixon. I think that one sucks. But I think, like, Dane was there long enough that, like, people were, like, eventually expecting him to leave or just retire. Like, they probably thought when things were, dying down with him that he was going to retire, and then he ended up leaving. Like,
I think the Dane one hurt them the most because it was like it was out of nowhere almost in terms of just like the announcement. I think Curtis was like the nail in the coffin of like just like that era, and it was like, well, fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're more hurt.
Dane was like LeBron leaving the first time because he's like franchise icon, had been there his entire like 13 or 14 year career at that point before he left, and then won a championship with them in 2019. And he's like the face of that franchise pretty much. And, there's some kids in Calgary that don't know the Calgary Roughnecks up until he left without Dane Doby. And then Curtis leaving was just like, oh, come on, man. It was like the SpongeBob, like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? And that's Calgary to San Diego. Like, stop stealing our players.
Yeah,
it just makes the rivalry more fun from a like outsider perspective, though.
Yeah, like I think that may be I think that's the biggest storyline of the weekend. I think the best game of the weekend is going to be the last one.
Really? Panther City, Saskatchewan?
Saskatchewan has kind of surprised everybody this year. And with the way they come out, they've fired out of the gates. They've been great both offensively and defensively. They've gotten some goalie play to step up a little bit. So, like, they're looking very good, riding a lot of momentum. They have an amazing crowd. So, like, you can't ever take that out of the equation. Like, that's always going to help. So now you got Panther City, though, who's rolling. Granted, they played Las Vegas twice, but they're 2-0, and they look very good while doing it.
2-1, because they played twice last
that's
week
right.
And lost to Colorado.
You're right. They did lose good. But it's just like – but they didn't even look bad losing to Colorado.
No. 12-9, I think, was the final.
Yeah, who's the defending champion. And they were,
embarrassed by Saskatchewan.
Yeah, and they played a very good game against Panther City due to being – embarrassed by Saskatchewan. So it's like Panther City is really rolling right now and looks very good, but so is Saskatchewan. So it's like
we did say about Panther City they would be good again.
Yep, we did. And it's just like this is a game where it's like you're watching 2 teams two steam trains really. They're just rolling right at each other, and one of them's either going to get out the way or one of them's just going to run the other one over. So I'm excited to see kind of how that shakes out. And I can't say. I think that's going to be the hardest one to pick this week.
I think the hardest one to pick, and what I'm going to dub my game of the week is the first one, because I think Halifax has surprised us even more than Saskatchewan, just based off of like we didn't know what the chemistry was going to be. We didn't know how Randy Stotts was going to feel coming back, in terms of just like health wise, like how he was going to, shake that rust of not being on the floor for 2 years plus. How the chemistry was going to flow with all the change that they made from last year at the trade deadline to moves this offseason, and they look fucking amazing. So that's a benefit for them. That's good for Halifax in terms of just, staying on top in the East, which they are right now. One of 2 undefeated teams in the East and one of 4 undefeated teams overall. And the fun part about the San Diego-Calgary game, too, one team is going to get their first loss of the season. They're both undefeated, so somebody's going to lose for the first time this year. Buffalo bounced back last week, too. They're 1-1, beat Toronto. That's a big win for them, too. With just I think both teams' championship aspirations. That's a nice win to have over Toronto early. And I think Buffalo's kind of looking at this Halifax game the same way. And I think Halifax is looking at it from the perspective of we just got to distance ourselves from Buffalo so we don't have to worry about them, down the line when week 16 rolls around and, we're vying for playoff positioning. You want to have those games in hand early on in the year. That way you're not having to worry about it, late in the season in April.
Yeah, I just don't think that game is as hard to pick for me. It's looking just at – I don't think Buffalo has done well adjusting to being the top of the food chain. They've been so good these past couple of years. Now that people have made adjustments around them and have gone and gotten younger players and are now putting in systems to beat Buffalo, Buffalo is not ready to be, the cream of the crop. When you're the top of something for so long, you can't settle. And it seems like Buffalo has settled a little bit with being as good as they are. So now teams are still hunting them, and Buffalo isn't putting out the same product that they've been putting out the past couple of years. They're still good. They're still fighting for these games and they're close, but they're not pulling out the games at the end, and they're not stretching out leads at the end of third or the beginning of the fourth to give themselves cushions. These teams are here with them, and some of them are getting better than them. And Halifax just looks like an unstoppable machine right now. It seemed like putting Stotts into this offense, it was like you got.
I missed all of that.
Okay, so you know how you use a vacuum and then something gets caught in it, so you have to turn it over and pull it out. That's what I envision is going on here. It was like Stotts was that whole action. Putting him in was flipping over the vacuum and pulling out the piece that was making it smoke and not work. He was just the missing piece in the cog of the machine, and now it's working well. Very oiled. It's hard to say that they aren't a top 3 offense in the league right now.
I think your point about Buffalo, I agree and disagree. I'm just looking back at their record from last year, and this is how Buffalo started 2021-2022. They won 6 straight, but these were their opponents to start last year. Home against Calgary in a championship game rematch. No Dane Doby, so trying to figure out that and how to operate your team. They won 16-9. Then they played at Rochester, home against Toronto, home against Georgia, at New York, which was that wild 18-17 overtime game, and then home against Rochester before their first loss, which was at Toronto. Looking at that schedule, it's justifiable why they went 6-0. Arguably on paper, they're better than all of those teams were at that point last year, and they could have easily lost that game to the Riptide, in overtime. I just think they're scheduled to start this year playing an Albany team that is much better than what they were last year, and an Albany team that they're just fucking weird. And you guys know we talk about that all the time on this show with their defense, and they know how to like just chop you down to the most basic of the basic somehow, some way. Like they just have like some sort of evil puppet master up in their booth helping them coach that defense, and it's the death by 1,000 cuts, and they do it to every team, no matter who you are, no matter how good your offense is, no matter how bad your offense is. Albany finds a way to do it, and I'm pretty sure I think that they lost that game by week 1. So I mean, I can't knock that too much per se, and then to bounce back the way they did to beat Toronto by 3, held Toronto's offense to less than 10 goals was huge. So I think that spoke more to their defense. I just think Buffalo's becoming a more balanced team than what we've seen the past couple years. Like, we've talked about their offense an ungodly amount because rightfully so. Look at their offense. But then I think their defense gets kind of overshadowed. And we talk about Vino all the time because he's the GOAT. But we don't talk about their defense a lot. And their defense does really, really good things just as much as their offense does to like help them be as dominant as they are. And I just think now like they're just being more balanced in terms of like execution of like roster, construction. And I think that's a part of it. So I think, as we see them play more games, we'll get to see kind of what this iteration of Buffalo is. I still think they're a top 3, top 4 team in the East, and they'll be in the playoffs, obviously. But I think it's more this season. I think we should pay more attention to their defense and see how their defense performs more so than their offense. Because we talked about it in the season preview, too, for Buffalo. Like, these fucking guys have been playing nonstop for almost 2.5 years. So there's going to be some, wear and tear, and it's going to be up to the defense. It's going to be up to the transition game to kind of step up in some of the spots where we've seen their offense step up in years past to have those 16-9 performances, those, 18-17 type of shootouts. Buffalo's going to win a lot of games, I think, this year, 11-8, 12-9, those types of games, more so than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, 100%. But it's just I guess it's the way the product looks from Buffalo. Like, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look like Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're slow to get into their sets. Their sets don't always go the way they're supposed to go. Sometimes they look lost on defense. Like, those aren't things we're used to seeing from Buffalo, and it looks like a mix of, a tiredness, but also frustration, a lack of chemistry. Like, all these things are kind of just building upon each other, but, like, when you have been as good as they are, you can't let those things surface. Even if they're happening, you have to minimize them, and like you can't let them surface. And it's just gotten to the point to where like people are able to see Buffalo's weaknesses and pinpoint them and get them into these closer games that are more suitable for these teams who are trying to steal a game from Buffalo. It's just, like you said, going to be a matter of can they squeeze out some of these games. And what I'm saying is with how they're playing right now, those games are going to be hard to squeeze out. Mm-hmm. If they address that, then there's no problem. But if they continue to play the way they're playing now, they're going to be in some deep trouble.
Hot take, does Buffalo miss Connor Fields more at 11?
Screaming.
But, yeah, a lot of fun games. I'm excited for all 3 of these. I think they're, very fun games. I don't know if you saw Adam Levy's tweet, friend of the program, shout out. Go listen to the Lacrosse Matrix podcast, too, when you're done listening to this one. Did you see his tweet about, like, we need Boxing Day, NLL? Sign me the fuck up for that, man.
Yep.
And I forget who it was. Might have been Charlie Ragusa. Somebody said, make it like a thing where it's like Toronto and Buffalo, Rochester, Halifax, like, that area, because, like, it's easy travel, and then, like, obviously, like, most of those places celebrate Boxing Day, too, so, like, Boxing Day NLL would be electric, need it. I think that should be something that gets put on the schedule.
And, I mean, West Coast, you got Calgary, Vancouver, like...
Saskatchewan's out there. Mm-hmm. You do a Calgary, Colorado which is similar to Toronto, Buffalo.
And then Vancouver,
Saskatchewan. Bang.
Like, boom.
You're welcome. That one's free, Brett Fruit.
Literally, it's there for you. The next one's going to cost you.
This one just cost you an appearance on the pod. How about that? No games last week, so I am going to go out on a limb and say, Deej, your state of the fandom has not changed?
No, not yet. The back of the Bird Boys had a few things to say about that.
Make sure you listen to that after we get done feeding some ducks.
Feed them duckies.
As it is time for the NLL Week 5 Picks of the Week, powered by the homies over at Pickup. Make sure you guys are going to playpickup.com, playing all those hot-ass headlines, props across the board, whether it's NLL, whether it's NFL, getting ready for the NFL playoffs, the college football playoffs, baseball offseason, NBA, NHL. When February rolls around, all you NASCAR heads can get your NASCAR props in as well. Go to playpickup.com, start playing the hottest headlines in sports, rack up points on your fan profiles, cash them in for prizes on the pickup marketplace, and all you got to do is sign up with your phone number. That's playpickup.com. Deej, game number 1, Friday, 7:30 Eastern Time at the KeyBank Center. Halifax heads to Buffalo to take on the Bandits. How do you see Thunderbirds Bandits playing out?
Give me the T-Birds. I need a Thunder buddy. Halifax is going to come through. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They look way too good right now. And it's more about the offense than the defense. Like, we just talked, like the way I see this game going is neither of these defenses are going to be able to stop the offenses just because of how they're set up. So whose offense can score more goals right now? Halifax. Halifax broke their record for most goals in a game, and then turn around and did it again the next week. Like, I don't know what you want anyone to say about an offense like that right now. If you're dropping, 20 goals in a game, I gotta say you're almost unstoppable. So they're almost in that I can't pick against them right now category because of how strong their offense is.
I'm torn on this one for a number of reasons. Like, I agree with everything you just said about Halifax. Buffalo at home, though, it's very similar to Saskatchewan at home, if not better. And I think it is a little bit better. Sorry to all our Saskatchewan people, but, like, Buffalo's crazy. Buffalo is crazy, and we've seen that, like, more recently, obviously. Like, we've seen Saskatchewan at its peak, and it's fucking nuts. They're the West Coast version. Buffalo's the East Coast version. Buffalo's going to be up for this. It's New Year's Eve weekend. I don't know if the Bills are playing at home this weekend or not, but if they are, good grief. My biggest thing is, like, it sucks that we don't, like, get this info earlier.
They're not.
Okay. So scratch that from the scale. The thing that sucks that we don't get early enough is, like, last week going into Halifax's game, not that it mattered because he played fantastic. We didn't know Warren Hill wasn't playing for Halifax. Halifax can kind of get away with that against the New York Riptide, especially when Callum was out. You can kind of get away with that a little bit because you have the offense to combat New York's offense. I think you would agree. Buffalo's offense, on paper, is better than New York's offense. It's deeper. If I don't know who the goalie is that's playing for Halifax, that sucks in terms of just, like, weighing this. Buffalo being at home, Vino being their guy, I think this is a big game for Buffalo. Like, this is a more important game for Buffalo to win, I think, than it is for Halifax. So I'm going to go with the home team and give the home floor advantage to Buffalo, and I'm going to take the Bandits.
I hope you know Warren Hill's definitely starting this game.
I hope he does, and I hope I look like a fool.
I think that was more of a let's give this guy a start early season. I'm sure they're going to mix him in, here and there, because he played phenomenal. Like, it wasn't like he did that job. So it's just like,
yeah, Hutchison looked great.
When you have opportunities to give a guy like Hutchison, a shot, go ahead and let him take it. Is this one of those games? No. So I think Warren Hill plays.
But I don't know if it was like an injury or what, because it was last second.
Well, that's what I'm saying is I don't think it was a injury whatsoever. I think it was literally like they were like, oh yeah, we'll start Warren Hill because we always start Warren Hill, and then went, well, we're playing New York with no Calvin Crawford. Let's give Hutch a chance because why not? So I think Warren Hill starts because it wasn't an injury. It was just a spur of the moment where we're in a chance where we can give this guy an opportunity. So let's do it.
We'll find out 5:30 Friday night because that's when we always find out. Next game on Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time start out in Calgary, the teal floor. The Teal Turf Titans put it on a shirt. They host San Diego. It's hard for me to not pick the Seals here. I think there's a lot more emotion tied into it for the Seals, and kind of, not that I think they will, but like, when you're looking at a game like this optically, like Calgary's going to want to try to overdo it in a sense. They want to one-up their former teammates. I think Christian Del Bianco is going to have a fucking phenomenal game because he is going to be somebody that feeds off of that. Shout out to the boy. But again, I think San Diego's offense is just ridiculous, and I think they're going to come out guns blazing, fire, and on all cylinders. So give me the Seals.
Yeah, I think last year Danny Dobie had some ridiculous 13 total goals and 19 total points or something like that against Calgary last year between the 2 games or 3 games or whatever it was that San Diego played. I don't expect that to change. I think Curtis Dixon's going to pop off. But I think it goes to the deepness of the San Diego team. Guys like Patrick Sume, Matt O'Keefe, Eli Gobrecht. The defense and the transition guys are going to really shine in this game. The goalies are going to do their thing and go back and forth because that's what they do. The offenses are both studded. So it's going to come down to guys like Patrick Shumate, Zach Currier, who wins those battles. And I think it's looking at Currier, and I want to say it's Pace that they run with him. And,
I think so. Tyler Pace, yeah.
Yeah, in the transition. I just don't see them matching up against, Patrick Shumate and Eli Gobrecht and the rest of those guys that they run there. So, I got to take Super Seals because they're the Super Seals.
Super Seals. Last game, Panther City at Saskatchewan on New Year's Eve. It's an 8 p.m. Eastern time start, so 5 p.m. local time, I believe. I just like both of these teams are playing really, really well. I just like the speed and the attention to detail. And sure, they played Vegas twice. Panther City, they're gonna be in the hunt for a playoff spot in the West, no doubt about it. This is gonna be a big test for them, especially with how well Saskatchewan's played. But Saskatchewan kind of choking away that game against San Diego a couple weeks ago too was kind of glaring and kind of concerning. I'm taking Panther City on the road to get a big time New Year's Eve dub.
I gotta go the opposite of you for the same reason you went the opposite of me in the Halifax Buffalo game. The Rush are at home, and they've been playing well this year. That crowd, last year, the crowd showed up. They were there, but they weren't as into it as they had been in the past, which, rightfully so. They weren't really giving them a reason to be into it. So now that they do have another reason to go at it and be into it, they are, and they're all for it. And I think that energy is going to be huge, especially in a game like this where Panther City likes to get up and down and run with energy and play with energy. Having your home crowd behind you, giving you that extra energy is huge. So that's my edge for the Rush this weekend.
It's going to be a fun one. I'm excited for all 3 of these games. But to recap, here it is. I'm taking Buffalo. Deej has Halifax. We're both taking San Diego. And then you're taking Saskatchewan. I'm taking Panther City. And those are your Week 5 New Year's Eve edition Picks of the Week, brought to you by Pickup. Deej, we got breaking news this morning that blew our minds. Didn't see it coming. Came out of left field. John Grant Jr. hires new Redwoods Lacrosse Club assistant coach, taking over for our friend Todd McFarland, who stepped down earlier this year from the position. So now your coaching staff for the Woods is obviously Nat St. Laurent, friend of the program. Chris Collins is your defensive coordinator and goalie coach, friend of the program. And now John Grant Jr., future hopeful friend of the program. Cough, cough, at Nat. Cough, cough, at CC. I think this is big for a number of reasons. Not only just for the Redwoods, but for the league. You know, kind of opening that door to being like, what's up, legend? Come on in, is huge. Obviously, Grant Jr. played into his 40s in the MLL as a player coach. Played in the bubble, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
Paul obviously breaks the points record on Long Island back in 2021. And I think it's just one of those, like, you know, even though the leagues have merged and everything, it's one of those nice little semantics type of olive branches as well. And I think it's big, you know, to get more eyeballs on the PLL, get more eyeballs on the Redwoods, who are a fan favorite team. And I think this is an impeccable hire for the direction I think Nat wants to take this team into 2023 and beyond. A team whose offense relied on RP3 last year to do literally everything. I think John Grant Jr.'s brain, just in those offensive, you know, meeting rooms, and just scheming up just fun ass shit that comes into his head, is going to be just what the doctor ordered for the Redwoods.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I think he's more so excited to have the opportunity. Like, all the fans and the players and stuff are excited, but, like, he's got the opportunity to walk in and, like, just look at that Woods offense. Like, I don't know an OC who wouldn't walk into that room and be ecstatic at the opportunity to play around with the skill that he has. I mean, he's got down at attack, he's got, you know, Ryder, RP3.
We hope Ryan Lee.
Right. Ryan Lee is still there. Maybe they go and draft somebody this year. Jules, maybe they slide back down. But, I mean, Serge up top, Joe Robertson.
Miles. The kid from Maryland that they drafted.
Charlie Bertrand, Anthony DeMeo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, he's got tons of guys coming in. He's got tons of guys already there. And then
he's got a draft pick as well.
He's got a solid draft pick in this year's draft at 3, 4?
Yes, 3, I think.
One of those. So it's like, you know, he's got a very stellar offense to walk in and really manipulate him any way he wants, because you get a new LC, you basically start from scratch. Old playbook doesn't matter, and we're running this now. So he can kind of just treat him like Play-Doh and move him around and do what he wants with him. So I think he's
knows Nat too from their time in Ohio. When Nat was an assistant. I think this sparks just a fun banter weekend now anytime the Woods play the Water Dogs. Not only because the Water Dogs have never beaten the Redwoods, but Bachlet's an assistant coach for the Dogs. Was obviously with Denver when John Grant Jr. was there. I think that's a fun little wrinkle as well. And a lot of Denver guys are on that Water Dogs team that played with John Grant Jr., from Courier to Eli Gobrecht to Dylan Ward. Like, we listed them off during our championship preview game. There's a shit ton of former Denver Outlaws on the Water Dogs. So that's another fun wrinkle to kind of, you know, hopefully spark a fun Chaos Redwoods-esque rivalry, I would say, that could turn into more. Who knows? But I like that wrinkle as well. And I was thinking about this too, because obviously our guy Sean Quirk stepped down from coaching the Cannons a couple weeks ago. I think John Grant Jr. will be an assistant coach for the Redwoods as long as he wants to, but I think he's the first real potential option for a guy to get elevated to a head coach from an assistant within the PLL. Obviously, we could see that with Atlas, with Brooks once the championship series is over and everything, because I think that's when it'll get announced. I don't know who is going to be taking over for Cannons because their OC also stepped down to just do more with Virginia. But I think John Grant Jr. has a real shot to be a potential head coach at some point in the PLL. And I'm also not sleeping on, at some point Bill Belichick coaching the Cannons, but that's another thing for another pod that we'll save for 2023. But do you think, if he wanted to, obviously, do you think John Grant Jr. would be a head coach in the PLL?
Yeah, I don't think it's...
Not that we want to jump the gun because we love this hiring for the Woods.
Right. We're not jumping the gun whatsoever. I think he'll take his time, kind of get it into the PLL and how things work and working around with this offense and enjoying his time as an OC, but I don't see why he wouldn't want to be one. It's more of a question of if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
If he extends, I don't see a team that says no. Kind of how that whole thing goes. So it's once he expresses that interest, I feel like it won't be a problem, but it's just a matter of does he have the interest? That's what we don't know.
Yeah. Love the hiring, obviously. Shout out to the Woods. Had to come correct. This is our now open invitation to John Grant Jr. to come on the pod. We complete the trifecta of Redwoods coaching staff coming on the show. I love this hire, though. I think it's huge, like I said, not only for the Redwoods, but it's huge for the league as a whole to have John Grant Jr. in the league in any capacity. So I think it's massive there. Another former player coaching along, I think that's a nice aspect too for the Redwoods coaching staff is Collins and John Grant Jr. both played, and they both played at positions that they're coaching. Obviously, they're not Matt Patricia-ing it in the NFL.
You want to hear the funniest Matt Patricia story? During my time in college, the college basketball coach. Take a guess at what sport he played.
College basketball coach.
In college.
Football?
Yes. Now tell me what position he played in football.
Offensive line.
No.
Is it on the offense?
No.
Okay. Defensive line.
No.
Linebacker.
No.
Safety?
No.
Corner.
No.
Left outside, left bench.
Mans was a punter.
Hey, for the brand.
Mans was a punter. And he learned his whole basketball offense off of Virginia. But he just watched them play and then tried to emulate everything they did.
Unreal.
Literally got hired just because he went to my college.
Wow.
I won't say said college. Those of you that know probably know what college I'm talking about. But
that's unreal.
Is that insane? That's worse than Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
That's tough. Great hire, though. I talked
Fantastic hire.
I talked to Nat today. He's very excited. Nat St. Laurent will be making a return to OTB in 2023. Confirmed. And I think I can say this. Because it's not really anything. He's just getting started. Confirmed to me. There are going to be more things done to this Redwoods team in 2023. So just stay tuned. That's how Nat operates. You guys know the famous story. Back in 2019, Nat came on the pod for, I think, the second time. And 30 seconds after we hung up the phone, Westberg was in a Redwoods uniform. So he's just getting started. I love this hire for the Woods. Love it for the league. I'm excited for John Grant Jr. to be back in the mix, just in people's mouths, on people's TV screens. And it's going to be a lot of fun with the Woods in 2023. But to end 2022, like we said at the top of the show, like we teased on the Twitter machine, OTB, Back of the Bird, Volume 2, this episode. Sit tight, enjoy an hour-long, fun, chopping it up with the boys. Myself, Deej, Paul Dawson, Dan Lomas. It's OTB, Back of the Bird, Volume 2. Stick around on the other side. We'll be right back after it to have some fun to end the year and wrap things up for 2022. So stick around. All right, we teased it on last week's episode, everybody, and it seems like it, could turn into our nice little end of year tradition. It's outside the box. It's Back of the Bird 2.0. The boys are back. Paul Dawson, Dan Lomas. Welcome back, boys.
Thanks for having us, boys.
Yeah, what's going on? How are we doing?
We are living the dream, as we said.
Back of the Bird fashion. We had one guy that couldn't get on. We were struggling, but we're here.
It's that Back of the Bird Wi-Fi.
That's it. Seriously, didn't pay for the quick speed over here. I'm gonna dial up still.
Well, before we started recording, DJ was talking about his one flight that got delayed until 3:30 in the morning. That was literally so we could come see you play, Lomi. Yeah, he came to his first in-person NLL game, which was the game that should have gone to overtime when you guys played the Seals.
I swear that was a goal. I swear that was a goal.
You don't have to. You're preaching to the choir, man. That was. I still don't understand it, but it's people that get paid more than we do are making those calls. So that's. I guess that's just how it goes.
And what'd you think, DJ, of the game? First experience in person.
Oh, it was fantastic. Like, it makes me want the Detroit Turbos back even more than like I wanted before I had gone to a game. Like, I would live at season tickets right now. If they brought it back, I'd buy them right now. Like, wouldn't even think twice about it. Like, I'm there every game, driving in the snow, all of it. It's worth it. And can y'all win a couple of games so I can just like call y'all my favorite team? Like, I'm trying to hold on.
Hey, you can pick the 3-0 boys over there with Paulie, I guess. But it's.
I mean, hey, they're rising hot.
Yeah,
right? They're rising hot. They got my boy Connor.
We're just waiting. We're waiting to peak at the right time. We're trying to get these out of the way now so that we can learn and then go on a little bit of a run here.
He's talking my language.
Yeah.
He knows that, like, that's a Packers thing, man. Those dudes they peak at the right time. Like,
the spin zone.
He just knows. See?
Yeah.
Long season
indeed. You both have some fun new teammates. Paul, obviously, Fieldsy's up in Rochester now. And Dan, you got Riley O'Connor in the fold, teaming him back up with Callum. What's it been like, playing with those guys, first year on these new teams for them?
Yeah, like for me, it's great. Like, we were kind of just chatting again before we were recording, and I got to play like a little bit with Fieldsy in San Diego again. Like, we're talking him coming off that knee injury, but so I kind of got to know him a little bit when I was there for half a year, and he was there for kind of 3 games towards the end, and kind of get a glimpse of the guy he is. I mean, like, he might be one of the nicest guys in the league for sure. But again, like we're saying, I just don't think he's ever been kind of given the shot that we're giving him this year. And honestly, like, you hear a lot about sports. It's like opportunity times, like right place, right time, and taking that opportunity right now. He's flourishing and running with it. So it's been great. And again, like I say, he's one of the nicest guys around. So it's been a pretty smooth transition for Fieldsy and the Nighthawks for sure.
Yeah, I think, dude. I think our end is Ocon's been awesome for us, man. It's I think we needed a little more, veteran presence. With just he's won at all different levels. There's like a 3-time 100-point guy in junior, like most assists in like 3 years or something like that. And he's played for a while. And he's been good for a while, and I think him coming in, just helps us up front have a little bit more of a kind of like a veteran figure. Obviously we've got Callum up there, but he was had to miss a couple games last year, and then had to kind of left the first game and couldn't play the second this year. So I think having a little bit more leadership up there and he crashes and bangs, and he's fun to play with, and he's a great guy too. I think that's the part that's the best with pulling new guys in, is you get to know their personalities, and he's a guy that's pretty funny. A lot of jokes going back and forth. I ended up paying for his dinner the first weekend we were down for San Diego. I lost credit card roulette, but got him back week 2. He had to cover off 4 of the boys, so it was what goes around comes around, I guess, that way. But, yeah, he's great. It's great to have him.
Were you shocked that trade happened? You guys sent Kieran to Albany, and then Riley comes in, gets the team back up with Callum, and kind of gives you, that veteran presence, that, familiarity figure too. But, to lose Kieran, especially after the season he had in the PLL too, and, how well he played for the Riptide while he was there, was that kind of a bummer?
Yeah, I think anytime, you lose a guy or, someone, whether it's, retirement, a trade, anything, it's not easy. And I think it's even harder because Cards and I got pretty close. We were roommates on the road, and I think I might have been the first guy to find out he was having a kid when we were sitting under a beer pong table at my place after a game. But it's tough, man. But it's, at the end of the day, it's one of those things, like, you realize pretty quickly, like, we're in a business, and I think it's easy for athletes to say you're in a business when it's all you do. But I think, the hard part to kind of, like, really wrap your head around is, like, we've got 2 jobs, and this one is, it also has to function as a business. And, whether it's contract talks and things like that, if they don't go well, things can happen. And, I think that one's even tougher for the environment, but because he's from there, right? I think that's a little bit hard, but at the same time, I think our management has been great, and they make decisions that they think are better for the team in the long run. And, obviously Cards is, had a great first game there. I think he missed the last one, but I wish him nothing but the best, and still chat with him. Like you said, he had a great year in the summer, so it's sucks to see him go, but glad to see him doing well.
Do you guys think, we've talked about this a ton, and now we've seen it with Albany too, and you've seen it, with the Wings, you see it with Rochester a bit too, where, guys who play together, whether it's Summer Box or now, the PLL, where you have the Buffalo guys, and now Albany doing it, where they just went and signed every single Water Dogs lacrosse club member possible. Do you think that could become more commonplace, with both leagues, where, you see guys playing year round, whatever, league they play in, and, teams just trying to team up, familiar players together?
I mean, I think it's a good start for sure, because, like, again, the nature of this game is we only get to practice once a week, right? So the more familiarity and the more kind of relationship, especially, like, I'm not an offensive guy, but offensively, like, being in sync with guys and having that chemistry is a huge thing, like I'm sure Danny will say. So you can definitely see that. And now with, like, the advent of PLL and guys doing both, you probably will see a little bit of that. So there's just always that kind of chemistry kind of rolling over. Like, there's no missing a step, really. So I bet you might start seeing a little bit more of that for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's good for the game too. Like, I mean, you can start to kind of inch these guys towards being full-time guys, and, maybe it gets to a point where, they can kind of slowly add games in our league. And because you can't do it all at once, right? Because it's like, there's a weird transition phase of guys that have careers outside of it. So you can't just, like, go to 60 games or something and expect guys to be able to do that. So I think a nice transition for that would be maybe, playing in both and being able to just do lacrosse. And then maybe the NLL starts adding games. I think that's the goal is to try to, for owners, it's obviously, desirable to have games as many nights of the week as they can, to fill, the rest of the capacity of the arena and get people out there and build consistency. I think it's tough to keep people's attention when, you can play one home game and then, maybe go on the road for 4, and then you're not home for a month and a half. And then it's like, fans have, people nowadays have a pretty short attention span. So I think the more games, the more times you can be in front of people, the more you can show them what the product is. I think it's going to be a good thing. So I think it's great to have guys playing in both. And, chemistry side of things, I think, speaks for itself. You see that working, and not only just guys playing together, I think just playing all year round. it just increases the product. Everybody gets better. Like, think about how good of a product we have on the floor right now, and guys are playing once a week. Like, it's hard to imagine how good this game would be if guys were playing, 2-3 games a week and practicing together all the time. I think it'd be pretty cool.
What have you guys made of new commissioner in the fold since the last time you guys have been on? We got a new commissioner in the NLL. What were your thoughts on that hiring and how that's gone so far?
Yeah, Paul, you can take that one, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the hiring's great. Like, when you look at it and kind of who he is, and again, having like a lacrosse background, but like that's kind of almost like null, really. It's more like what he's done with the Stewart Haas racing, right? He kind of built that from the ground up, or was there from kind of the get-go. So he's seen how to kind of basically build a brand, build a winning sports entity, franchise, whatever you want to call that. But then it's a plus that he's a lacrosse guy as well. So now he has investment into the sport because he played it, right? As far as like how he's done so far, like it's like you can't put a grade on it because I'm sure he's just catching up. But I will say, like, the one thing that I've always kind of like been critical is like our social media presence, like from the league. And I just feel like our videos are being better. I think we're more on top on like highlights and stuff like that on Twitter, Instagram, and just like putting out these like quick little highlight packs and like them looking more professional. So like, if I'm looking at just like stuff like that, like so far so good. But I mean, to put a grade on it, I think it's a great hire. I mean, but to give him a grade, I think it's just like a little unfair right now. But I think it is a great hire, and I think hopefully kind of he's the guy to lead us into, whatever full time, or just kind of lead us into just kind of this growth. Like I always say, I've been in this league a long time, and we've had like I've seen, multiple peaks where we're climbing and then we kind of crash and stay stagnant. And again, we're on like another one of these peaks where we're climbing. So it's kind of how do we stay on this climb, keep this momentum going. And that's kind of like what he's going to have to figure out. Because right now, like, and he said this crazy, like, I think we interviewed him or someone interviewed him, and he had this great quote that's like, the NLL doesn't have a product problem. Like Danny just says, like, our product is amazing. Everyone you talk to is like, oh, that's never seen the lacrosse game. It's like, fuck, that game is amazing. Like it's everything you want from basically a sporting event, high scoring, fast, physical. But it's like, how do we capture casual fans? How do we keep people invested? Like all this stuff, right? But yeah, long story short, I think it's a great hire.
And I think too, like you bring up like the marketing stuff, and Deej and I have talked about this a ton. Like the ESPN and TSN deal helped a ton with like doing the media day and stuff in Toronto, but like the marketing of the players, I think, is like that next step, and like I think that's how you get the casual fan. I think that's how you get like this like Gen Z fandom that like I think is latched on, to the NBA in particular. It's latched on to the PLL a ton, where like these younger kids are just fans of players, and if you can get players' faces and players' brands in front of them, like I think that's what taps into that younger demographic that so many sports leagues are trying to capture.
100%.
Yeah, and I think I agree for sure. I think it's I think the hard part about doing that in our league is and it's a problem I think that a lot of leagues face, but specifically ours, because I talked about it, like the amount of times you see players, I think is can be problem number one. And I think problem number two is, it's a sport where you wear helmets, right? It's a sport where you're not really recognizing somebody based on, the way that they look, or if someone dyed their hair green, or what I mean? Like there's a certain part of that, but at the same time they have success in the NFL. So I think that, and they're a once a week sport. So it's, but I think comparing our sports to their sports, a little bit of a tough comparison, but at the same time, like I think that there's a recipe there. It just takes time. Like there's, it's just spreading the word. I think that, you just got to get it out there. Like I'm sure there's fans in every city that, may not even know that city has an NLL team. So it's trying to, like Paulie said, like trying to get the casual fan, your fan that loves a monster truck rally, or, an X Games or something like that would go pay like to see just entertainment for good value and get the kids out of the house and have them kind of be able to go look up to somebody or, you know, whatever it might be, I think is it's tough, but it's what we got to do. And I think to go back to the question on the commissioner, man, I think it's a great hire, and I think he's doing a great job already. You know, I'm sure there's so much behind the scenes that we have no idea that goes on day to day that they have to deal with and what they're planning for next. But even these little things like, you know, the big the outdoor game that's going to be going on between Vegas and San Diego, I think it's awesome, man. Like it's during, you know, there's a few women's games, I think, you know, going on at the same time. And they've kind of made a weekend out of it. So it's just getting in front of people, right? Getting in front of the next generation. There's, you know, the Canadian young kids in Canada, they know what the NLL is, but it's young kids in the US that see the PLL all the time and they understand the players there and they see all the content. It's, you know, how do you get into that market? How do you push that, you know, without getting kind of, maybe, you know, the finger pointed that you're playing a copycat game and you know, taking the PLL strategy. How do you make it our own? I think is the thing that they've got to figure out.
Well, I think the Riptide have done a pretty good job with it with Teeter, like just the way that they like and retweet or like repost or like show some kind of love on everything that everyone says about him. And like, I think it goes, if they can get some video packages and some image package, graphic packages, just to send out on game day, on the streams, to promote the streams before games, like having a face for each team, like that goes a long way. Like, you know, you don't see a hockey game or football game or basketball game, baseball game nowadays without at least one or two players on, you know, on the promo at the least. You know, I think that goes a long way. It's just like, everyone is so incentivized by players now. Like you see a lot of people like, oh, I don't have a favorite team, but I like this player. And like whatever team they're on is a team that I like. Like, I mean, even I fall into that in terms of like basketball. Like I'm a Pistons fan because like I'm a homer, but like really I like whatever team LeBron James is on because it just makes more logical sense to like LeBron James than to like any other team. So I think like going into that and like, if teams just start to pull out the hottest names that they have on their team, like, for example, like Georgia, if they just pushed Lyle Thompson, like, I don't know how Georgia wouldn't sell out all the time. Yeah. If they just like pushed his highlights, put his name on everything. Like, I understand like how it looks and like, you know, like, and how it makes other players feel, but like, it is what it is. It's like playing with LeBron James. Do you think other players say that? Like, no, they get it. They're playing with LeBron James. Like, you kind of just have to incentivize people to come by saying, this is the best player we have. So he's pretty good. So I hope you like him. Like, that's kind of just the strategy. And I don't know how well it works for lacrosse.
I think it can work. I think the part that teams need to buy into is like hiring somebody specifically for that, right? It's like, you can't hire a social media person that has to be your video, your photography, your everything, and expect it to be top tier, right? Like you gotta be willing to put resources into it. And you know, like, I mean, you saw ours took a jump this year. We hired Tyson Geik, who was in Halifax before with that team, and Rochester when they were in Rochester, and like you saw kind of like the quality of things that get put out. And it's like, you know, there's Charlie Ragusa, like there's certain people in lacrosse that are, you know, on certain teams, and those are the teams you always see with stuff out. So it's like, you know, hopefully, you know, owners with, you know, experience in the sports world that maybe own another team and they see how much of this different streaming and videos and like how many clicks this, like if a video can get in front of 1 million people, it's like, okay, a lot of people are going to see that and be like, who is this player? Who is it? What is this sport? But it just comes down to applying the resources to be able to get the product, to make our product fine-tuned and make it look and be represented in the way that it is when you're there in person.
What's it like being around the content cowboy?
It's kind of hilarious at times. Like when maybe if you haven't had enough coffee or you're not really ready to be facing it, it can be tough, but it's part of the job, right? Like it's part of what we're paid to do. And it's kind of a whole package deal. Like at the end of the day, like it can be, you know, annoying. Maybe you're not used to it or you don't want to like open up to it or whatever it might be, but like it helps all of us. It helps the team. It helps fill the seats, which helps give us an extra push if you're down a goal or whatever it might be. So I think there might not be a direct result that you want right away, but it's I think down the road it does nothing but help us. So it's it's all good. And it's good to be around Tice too, like having him around the boys and stuff. And he takes some shit, but it's still a blast.
Yeah, he's a good dude, but like kind of on that point is like, this social media in lacrosse is kind of like just growing. Like Danny says, like I don't like, for the most part, we're kind of like lumped into that hockey like cliche, like no personality mix. So again, like I think like you're saying, like these Gen Z, they want to like know people, know like the personalities, right? So I think you're seeing it better like with guys on Twitter and whatever, their Instagram, stuff like that. But I think like again, we're just trying to get caught up to like from a player standpoint of like, okay, yeah, we can like let our guard down, we can kind of be ourselves. And again, that's kind of why like we started the podcast, like to kind of give a little bit of like a behind the scenes and like a who's who and whatever. But again, because like all this stuff, like you say, helps grow the sport, puts face to the names. Guys that wear cages now, there's like, okay, that's who that guy is. He's funny, he's this or whatever, right?
How much do you think, because Dan, you've brought this up, like you guys have multiple jobs, like how much do you think like leading up to, I'd say maybe since 2018 when expansion really started happening again in the NLL, like do you think guys held back from being like personalities on social media because of the 9-to-5s?
I think it plays a part. I think there's certain guys that are just maybe steer away from it a little bit, or are just a bit more reserved. But I think at the same time, like even if it was full time, then obviously there'd be more money in it, and there'd be more eyeballs, and there'd be more of like you're not just the lacrosse player that's in front of fans once a week. Like you're the face of an organization that anything you say can and will be used against you. And I think we see that in sports all the time. Like guys nowadays, like they have an opinion on something and it's like, you're done. Or you say something a bit out of line and so many people look up to you kind of thing. So I think, yes, you do see people hold back because it's like, business, it's in and out, you're behind closed doors. It's the guys hanging with the guys and going to play. But I think at the same time, if there wasn't another job, I think guys would have to, like you see it in like hockey, right? Guys aren't really themselves. They're given simple answers. They could probably answer questions before they're even asked because they're just going to kind of give you the same thing, right? So it's I don't know. It depends on the person, I think, and the culture of the sport for it to really come out. But
do you guys think the Olympics could be a make or break for lacrosse?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like a make or break. Again, I think it'll help, but then it's like, this is where it's kind of that weird thing where it's like it's a brand new sport, right? Like it's good because like at least we're into that like spectator space, or at least we're like on the radar. I don't think it's a make or break, to be honest. It'll definitely help. Like I don't think if we don't get in, like we're kind of in the same spot, and I think we can still grow and still. PLL can grow, NLL can grow without being the Olympics. Because at the same time, like, there's sports in the Olympics where you probably see it or like, I've never seen this sport before. But I don't go like, I got to go start consuming it too, right? So there's like that kind of catch-22. Again, I think it'd be amazing more from like a player standpoint that you get to go experience the Olympics and be in that. Like I've done like some world championships, not a big deal, but like
there he is. It only took 23 minutes.
But like again to be like in that Olympic stage, I think would just be amazing, like from an athlete standpoint. But yeah, I don't know if it'd be make or break. Again, I'm hoping we get there, but I don't think it's like the thing we need. It's like, hey, this is what's going to take us like full time,
I'm a little nervous about that. Like, if
won't get picked.
No, yeah, well that, and I'm nervous that if it picks up and it's big, like you can't have 3 types of lacrosse, like 4, including the women's game, the way it's played, the men's field game, box lacrosse, and then 6s is the biggest stage that the whole world sees. It's like, sooner or later, it's going to be. It could like if it's successful and gets into the Olympics, like I wouldn't be surprised sixes just becomes the game, and then it's like, man, that's I don't know. It's not the game that we love. Like it's not the game that we've always played or whatever. It's just I don't know. It's interesting.
Hold that. I just say you might be on my side with this. Just drop the girls' game and give them gear and let them play the same kind of game. It's still women's lacrosse, but they're just allowed to hit each other, and that's fine. And then sixes can stay, because think of Olympic 3-on-3 basketball. That gets the same views.
I honestly didn't even know they had that.
That gets the same views 5-on-5 does.
True.
And it has different players in it, which is the same thing sixes is going to be. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're going to get your best of the best in 10v10, because that's, the PLL would eventually become the professional outdoor league. Like, that's what people are watching all the time. And then your Olympic squad is going to have some of those guys, but also some guys that get a shot. And then you got box still being able to be box, because people love aggression.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we could probably go like deep on this. I think like you kind of just give sixes, like you can keep sixes as like the Olympic sport, but I think you give sixes to the girls as like their main sport almost. Talking to like some of the guys who did it, they're like, man, the girls was some of the most like exciting lacrosse just in general, not boys, girls. Just it was like amazing watching the girls play. So I think like kind of to your point, Deej, like stripping the girls' game of like what it is now and kind of making it more into like the traditional of like what men's is, like a hybrid, but like more into like the men's rules. And if that's sixes with like a little bit of change, but I think if you pulled girls on it too, like they'd probably want to have something like with some more physicality and more like free flowing, I guess.
I like that.
You're gonna get beat up. What happens if they all like everyone thinks we should just get rid of box and go to the girl style?
That's where'd you pull that from, bro?
Well, I mean,
he pulled that from the back of the bird.
The ladies grew up on their game, right? They grew up on their game. They're passionate about their game. There's some lady's gonna come just try to beat the wheels.
I'll take the heat, but I just say these are just ideas, Dan. Jesus.
Yeah. I'll take the heat. I'm not. I just want the game to be exciting for everyone. I literally haven't run into a women's lacrosse player that wouldn't want to hit another one.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Honestly, to that point, like obviously not in America, but up in Canada, like women's box lacrosse is starting to grow exponentially. Like there's now junior programs, there's now senior. So it's growing, and that's just full on like same rules, like cross checking, slashing, same rules, nothing changes, and like they love it. So, there is like an exact same sport for women right now, and it's growing, but obviously like that's not going to be the sport of the future for them. But it kind of again like goes on those lines of, girls wanting to hit and be physical and blah 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 blah.
Do you think field lacrosse sticks around then as it is?
Like what, men's or women?
Yeah,
or women's?
both. Like in college.
Well, so that's kind of like I said with women's, like when you say you're scared sixes, like I'd be scared for field lacrosse that sixes takes over field lacrosse.
Okay, so
box, like, because really, like, I mean, listen, I'm not a field guy, so you can roast me, but like sixes is closer to box than it is to field, yes. But it's on a field. So if that becomes more exciting, you could see it take over field lacrosse. It's just kind of like what I'm saying. Not box lacrosse, but it could take over field and be like, now you have box, now you have field, and it's like, okay, those are the two sports.
I just don't see like owners and stuff, like, because like eventually the PLL is going to get to owners. I don't see them letting like that version die, but I'm not opposed to like high school going to sixes. Like my team would probably be the best in the state. And ironically, it's basketball. One, I grew up playing basketball for 15 years before I picked up a lacrosse stick, and now you're changing a game that's basically already basketball into flat out basketball. Like it makes the game, one, like you said, more exciting, and two, I think it gets the enrollment up at the high school level. Like now you can take the average football or basketball player or track athlete and say, here's a stick, here's some gear, play basketball out here. This is how you pass and catch, this is how you shoot, now play basketball. And he'd probably be the best player, in the county within 2 years. It just changes the fluidity between sports. And like I said, I'm not opposed to high school maybe going that way, but I don't see college or pro dropping that. College because of enrollment. You're gonna tell those schools that they're dropping 20 kids off the roster, 30 kids off the roster.
They might like it because they save some money, though. You never know.
Same amount. It's always the same amount of scholarships. Maybe they cut the scholarships in half too. Then though.
They would cut the scholarships in half, or they probably cut the scholarships even more than in half.
The thing is, and this is we can go all over the place with this, but that is going to change dramatically in the next 2 years. Is how college functions, because you're gonna get your Marylands, your Syracuse, your Duke, with alumni with piles and piles of cash, throwing this into, a not-for-profit that's called the Duke Fund and paying kids insane amounts of money to go to school. And it's not even going to be about scholarships anymore. It's going to be like, okay, I want to go to Duke or I want to go to Syracuse. Like, you're going to give me $600,000. Like, I'm going to come to school there. Like, it's going to happen.
I'm not opposed. Michigan's got money.
Yeah,
they'll finally be good at lacrosse. So.
Yeah, well, it's ricochet shot to every Michigan guy.
Those are my guys. Like,
shout out KJ.
KJ, Mikey, they know. I go support Michigan all the time. Tickets are $6. I take my whole team. Like, I mean, it's awesome. The experience is worth it. But like, we can't say that they're fantastic. Yeah. But I mean, if guys can start throwing money around, I bet they'd get pretty good.
Do you think club teams in college could switch to sixes since they're not exactly like a varsity sport, quote unquote?
No, dude. Those players, there's more club teams that have like 50-man rosters than varsity programs. Like
I got a deep respect for Mr. Number 65 sitting on the bench for a club team, sweating his ass off down in South Carolina, and he's hung from the night before. He just made the bus. I got a lot of respect for that guy for sure. Just so he can go to period 3 stats and wear a University of South Carolina lacrosse hoodie. I love that.
With the ring on, though. Don't forget the
ring.
Go
Cox.
Screaming Go Cox and everybody. Unbelievable.
And shout out to the varsity lacrosse guy on Twitter. I don't know. He knows more facts about MCLA lacrosse than I know about anything in the world.
Yeah. Unreal.
Do you guys feel like proud parents watching Donnie play?
Yeah, dude, it's watching him score and that celebration, it was, it was cool, man. It's because it kind of does feel like that, Paulie. I don't know, and that's for me. I think that's been, he's not to pump him up too much. Hopefully, he doesn't listen to this, but it's probably the first time I've ever felt like I've had a little brother. And because I've always been the youngest brother, and it's you kind of he'll ask questions in the group chat about I don't know, different things, simple things in the league, because it's his first time doing everything, and and he's so humble, dude. And it's this kid's first overall pick, who's just an absolute weapon on the floor, and he's just asking questions about where to stand on the floor for the anthem. It's you know what I mean? He's the best, and so seeing him go out there, and well-deserved rookie of the week, and he's just a great kid.
Is it fun in the summer watching him play too? Or you guys just kick back, crack open a few cold ones, and you got a guy.
That's even better because it's it's nice that he's in the West, but it's that's where it's tough. With me and Lomi, is because we're in the same division, so we can't really wish each other too much success. So we can not against each other, right? But if it comes we're fighting for a playoff spot or something, you don't want it to happen. So it's good that he's in the West, but in the summer it's great because it's now you're just not even invested into like yourself. So it's just like, yeah, you get the watchman just to cheer him on and hopefully he gets to score some goals. But like, that's the best part about like this league. Like now, like for me being so old, it's just like, I love young kids, man. It's the best. Like young kids, young rookies are just the best. Like they're just so naive and like don't know what's going on. It's amazing. It's just like they just got hatched out of an egg and are just like figuring out like what the world is. It's just fantastic.
You got newborns at home and in the locker room. That's
all the time. They're like, how's it being a dad? I'm like, dude, I've been a dad for a long time, man. Just grooming you young kids. So it's fun.
Yeah. Oh man. So is Rochester the best team in the league?
No, I wouldn't say that, man. But again,
numbers never lie.
Right. I guess right now we can claim it being undefeated. But again, I told you boys earlier, like I think, you know, obviously those preseason like odds and stuff came out. We took that, you know, that we took that Michael Jordan quote, like we took that personally. And, you know, I think even the last couple of years, even though we struggled a lot, and Dan's kind of been in that same boat as well with the Riptide, but it's like if you look at a lot of like both our team losses, like we were very competitive teams, both the Riptide and Rochester, and coming in and making some of the changes and guys being a year older, it's like we expected to be a very competitive team, and like, you know, we won't say what our goals are, but we definitely, you know, those couple of years, like those weren't going to be like acceptable this year. So again, we want to be a competitive team every night, and where that lands us right now, it's landing us pretty good. But again, we know that the East is an absolute, I'll always say it, a meat grinder. So we'll just keep trying to do what we do, but we're happy how we started so far.
Yeah, I brought this up last week, and you know, with you guys being 3-0, like Rochester's one of those markets in the NLL where like if the Nighthawks are good, like that's good for the league.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's one of those type of teams.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I've spent most of my career there with like the old guys, and now the new. And anytime the team's good, like more fans come. And it's not so much fair weather fans; it's just you will always get like that 5,000 kind of whether we're garbage or whether we're good. But as soon as like we're good, like now we're filling that arena, and again, like this team, you know, in different entities, been around for 30 plus years. Right. So it's kind of a mainstay. It's like, you know, one of whatever the original 6 type of franchises. So again, when we're good and competitive, it's just, you know, it's better for the city of Rochester. Like you say, it's better for NLL and just more fans come. So it's definitely awesome when we're winning some games for sure.
We're big, look good, feel good, play good. Paul, you obviously got new uniforms going into the season. Just got revealed you're getting new uniforms in the new year, Dan. Are you excited about those bad boys?
Yeah, I am. I'm pumped. They're obviously they were teased.
That's a bit of a wild move, the like quarter season jersey.
Right?
It's a bit of a wild move.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like every team does that though. Like they auction jerseys off and stuff for like theme nights. So I think I don't know if that's going to be tied to it or something, or if it's just like 2 alternate. Like it looked like there was 2 jerseys. I don't know if we got 4 now, but
yeah.
Hopefully that means at the end of the season, I got four jerseys sneaking away in my bag here. But yeah, I don't. They look pretty cool. Like I think the design you saw on the one was the design that was on our pennies with the lighthouse. I think that's a sweet logo. With the lighthouse kind of being the T, I think. And you know, I'm a seafoam guy. I like that color. So it'll be interesting to see how that looks with giant pieces of seafoam rolling around out there. But it's it's exciting. I mean, it just shows too, like I said, like about the commissioner, like him, you know, being a great hire. It's, you know, our ownership group is putting resources back into this. Like they want to have like little exciting things, like for a kid to want to go buy the one jersey that they see that's pretty outlandish, and because that's what you see, right? You see the color rush in the NFL, like you see all this crazy different things to like get that younger generation involved. And I think jerseys is an easy way to do it, because it's like, you know, you look at Vegas and doing a glow in the dark jersey for hockey, and all these reverse retros and things like that they're doing. I think it's a good way, man, to just like get kids pumped. Like you see all these like musicians wearing jerseys, you see rock stars wearing jerseys, and like kids want that. So it's a cool way to kind of like intercept things together. So hopefully it goes well. I'm excited. I like a good New Jersey, and hopefully they look good, as good as I think they do.
I'm just saying, we brought up these two designs on the show like a month ago, and now they're real.
Now they're real. Now I don't want to.
That makes. I know exactly what you're going to say, but that makes 3 guys on this podcast, and I'm the one who can't take credit for any jersey design.
No, I don't think that's where we were going.
No, that's where I was going to go for sure.
Yeah.
I was going to be like, yeah, well, I literally created the Vegas Desert Dogs, and I still haven't heard a damn lick back. But
you shouldn't have did that. It's awful.
You should have at least given them a little splash of color.
I didn't create the jersey. I created the name.
Yeah, you are all the problems in the world right now. I actually can't believe that. You look at the timestamps. I think it was like February. I tweeted it out like I was like the Desert Dogs, like, and I did like a hilarious little like jersey makeup, like a mock-up of it, like with my paint skills, and like a month and a half later, they're called the Desert Dogs. I was like, "There's like, no
this
way.
Is brilliant.
This can't be a coincidence. It can't be."
Joe Tsai's got to cut you a check.
I know.
My thing is, Desert Dogs isn't a bad name. It was it was their hype up for it.
Yeah,
coming in hot for Desert Dogs. It just
there's no lick of any type of red, orange, or yellow in the jersey.
Yeah, that's the hard part too, is because like the Fire, like Albany went with those jerseys, and like they're kind of a similar animal, and it's like I don't know, like what do you do here? And they I think they originally had like Albany was originally like blue.
Stony Brook's logo.
Yeah, and then they got
bullied on Twitter.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a there may have been a little bit of a court appearance or something there. I don't know, but I don't think that they were allowed to just take that logo. So I think that was a little bit.
They got, as the kids say, ratioed on Twitter.
Yeah, but that worked out for them. I think their jerseys now are pretty cool. Like those colors are unique. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what color coming up with color combos is not easy to do. But I'm just actually looking at this background you guys got going right now. Like, imagine a team rocking those out there. That'd be kind of nice, like the teal and the yellow. Or
thought whatever. Calgary was gonna do it when they teased the teal, and then they were like, "Nope, we're gonna do it as our turf."
Yeah, that's actually just the giant airplane turf we've got.
Have either of you guys played there since they put that turf down?
No.
Yeah, I've heard it is kind of hard to see the ball, but I'm sure they get used to it, right? Because they play on it every other week. So
it's a tactic.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It takes some adjustment, blinds the eyes.
It's why I've debated not switching over to the turf when my high school gets it, because everybody else around us has turf. So if we play on grass, ground balls, baby.
That's it. Teach them the hard lessons too. Playing on grass is worse.
Oh yeah, they already know. We do full field ground balls, 2 butts are down. If everybody ain't down, we're going again.
Yeah, run it back. We used to do that. We used to do. I don't know. I think I've talked about this before. We used to do a drill called the pressure cooker at High Point, and it was like you're in a square. So like one team is one L, and the other team is the other L, and 2 guys go in the square and get the ball, and it's like if he blows the whistle again, another guy goes in from each side. Like it can get up to like 6-on-6 trying to pick up a ground ball in like a 12-yard area. We once did it before playing Michigan at half field, like right beside them, just going at this pressure cooker. This is the trauma. That's the trauma coming out here. We're pulling out. I took that drill off before the game.
Low key, that might be actually a fantastic drill to do right before a game.
Well, like, make the other team scared as shit.
Yeah, I say that's intimidating. Like you see them just like going right at it like that right before the game. You like look at them like all weird.
Like over planting a flag at midfield. We're just gonna do a drill right at the center of your field.
They always go over to coach and be like, "Are they okay?
Yeah, what are they doing?
Should we go home?"
Yeah. One of those guys got concussions post before the game.
Yeah,
all right. So.
Those are the guys I was talking about, number 60 to 65, that were in there just butting heads. Everyone else is kind of like standing on the outside of the drill.
Yeah, they're just like Baker Mayfield, like clean head, just headbutting guys.
That's a tactic you use though. You do that drill, but you throw in the guys who aren't going to play that are like legit going to kill each other, and then like, oh, these guys are psycho. Then all like the starters just play.
Yeah.
On the sidelines.
The training room's just filled with guys that didn't play a second during the game, just addressing all their issues.
It's just the entire shot put team for the track and field guys.
Honestly, not a bad idea.
Oh man, I did get a bunch of football players this year.
What's that?
I did get a bunch of football players this
There
year.
you go. That perfect.
Literally perfect. Like, what else are they good for?
Yeah, that'll work.
A long pole in their hands.
You know,
right?
Shout out Derwin James.
Actually, like speaking of that, an offensive lineman would probably be a really good defender. Like 100%. Now, like, offensive linemen are like getting super athletic. They're not just like giant fat guys anymore.
Yeah, like Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, just imagine a long pole and you're trying to get around him and he's just fucking dropping back in pass protection, but swinging a stick at you.
Good night.
Can you give me a pre-torn ACL David Bakhtiari?
Did I see there's some NFL guy that's like going to come back to lacrosse now or something? Did you see this?
High school or college.
Yeah.
What's that kid's name?
What's his name? But dude, he's a freak.
He's going to Virginia too.
Oh, that's all they need is just another stud.
That's another one of those schools that'll get one of those not-for-profit funding things.
Yeah, 100%. But that would be interesting.
What is this kid's name?
Yeah, I don't know. I forget it. I'm gonna look it up too.
Ricky Mizan. Mizan. Ricky Mizan.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
Former number 1 overall lacrosse recruit goes back to Virginia after playing football at Stanford for 5 years. What is this guy, 30?
How does that work?
He's got those COVID years.
He's really like my age. He's like 23, 24. Really? But like COVID years. I really could go back to school right now and have like 4 years of eligibility.
There you go.
He was the team captain for Stanford this year.
But I'm not going back to school, so.
Dude, they got a big offense. Holy smokes!
Yeah, they're gonna be insane.
Wow, because they got your boy there.
Yeah, and he's 6'5", McCombie. Yeah,
and then Cormier's a monster too.
Oh yeah, he's huge. They don't have the the number 1 pick in the PLL draft though.
Who's that?
Sam Hanley.
See, I gotta learn these things.
A kid from Penn.
Me and you both, Dan. Me and you both.
He's like 6. He's like 6'5" and just he's like Tom Schreiber, but in a Sergio Perkovic body. Like just.
That's high praise, man. I'm gonna be watching now, and you better not let me down.
Hey, I just hope you don't watch the wrong game.
I know. Yeah, I say that no matter which game I watch.
Literally, he's gonna play bad just because you're watching.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch every single one of them now. Make sure.
That's hilarious. Paul, is there anything your brother like can't do? Like, is he just gonna play forever?
Yeah, I mean, there really isn't much he can't do. I think this year. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I think this year will probably be his last. But he's also been teetering in that for the last couple of years too. So you could see a Tom Brady type episode until he gets divorced from his wife, like a la Tom Brady. He just throws the fucking wrenches on him. But I mean, honestly, he probably could play forever to be realistic. Like, there is still a cliche, like, but he does take very good care of himself. He does, not to toot his own horn. He looks like he's 28 still, so he could play forever if he wanted to. But, he's got kids now that are starting to get in the sport, so he's starting to become that also crazy hockey lacrosse dad. So, he'll probably get his licks in on that, but who knows? But he could if he wanted to, no doubt in my mind.
So hey, at least he doesn't get caught up in the crazy Ponzi schemes like Brady and Giselle did. I'm sure. His wife did not get in on.
He's a simple man in those terms. Didn't
get got by crypto.
No. I don't even know if you know what crypto is. He's not on social media, so yeah, that's one thing he can't do. He can't stay cool with young kids, and he doesn't know like anything that's going on as far as like, social media.
And the worst part was we were running with this bit forever that he was the enemy of the pod, and turns out he's the most listened to episode we've ever done. Like Are we kidding here? People, stop listening to this one. Listen to the other one.
Who's been the most entertaining guest you guys have had this year? Obviously, season 2 for Back of the Bird.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. People always ask me, and then I also have the worst memory in the world, but I don't know. I'll let Danny take it. He's probably better at this.
I honestly, a lot of the times, because I think you just a lot of these guys, right? So you're kind of just blackout when you're talking to them, right? It's like it just kind of goes by. I'm trying to think now. Jake Berge has got to be it for me. That was a cool conversation. That guy is a hero, man. And big Philly guy. I'm an idiot. Didn't even know his old man was like Mr. Philadelphia Eagle. And just the way that he kind of adapted to the game and helps sway my opinion too. If his son's going to High Point, I think is a big help. So, I would say the chat with him was pretty good.
Berge's great, man.
Yeah, he's a good dude, and all those guys, man, the older guys from kind of the MILL and into the NLL transition. That's your bona fide, just doing it for the love of the game. And they're all just going out after having a ton of beers, having so much fun, all giving just chirping to each other. Training camps consists of going out every night and then trying to rally the troops again to go, back at it the next day. And they're battling. It's just lacrosse in its purest form in my mind, is a guy that's out there. There's 5,000 to 8,000 people watching, and he's doing it for a $300 check. It's that's a pretty cool thing to be doing, right? And
he's a doctor at his 9 to 5 job.
That's what I mean. It's just it's crazy, man.
My parents, that was their Friday night date nights back in the day, was Wings games, and my dad he's like, yeah, the MVP of the league got a watch. He's like, that dude could pay for that with a half a paycheck being a dentist.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's it, man. It was about pure love of the game, and not it's not like we're rolling in cash these days either, but it's gone up a bit. It's just, I don't know. I love that stuff. It's even old time hockey is the same kind of thing. You love just hearing the stories of these guys, they're smoking cigarettes in between periods. They're getting $100 and then just going out and having a blast with the guys. But it's good stuff.
Is that thinking of it, because Bussin' with the Boys with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton, they talk about it sometimes. Do you guys get chirped for being podcasters now?
I think I got chirped once actually by a guy who became a guest and maybe a teammate of Dan's.
Yeah, that was.
I got chirped by Connor Kern and say our podcast sucked. I'm like, dude.
I was right behind him too.
I know. I'm dude. So it's just user. I'm like, dude, my partner's on your team, you idiot. No, I mean, for the most part, not really. Because then I would just be like, well, you listen to the pod, so you're an idiot. So I know you like it. But no,
you go get this podcast.
Yeah, and I thought it's threatened their life too, anyway. So
I was gonna say, I don't think anyone's gonna make I think I've gotten a few chirps, but I don't think anyone's gonna be going and giving it to Paulie because unless they want to keep their face on, I think. But I haven't really gotten I think the boys in the room are sometimes joke around. If we start getting into stories or stuff like that, in the hotel room having a couple beers, it's there's always somebody cracks a joke oh, where's the hot mic? Who's got the mic on? Don't be telling this one. I'm listen, we're not here to get guys in trouble or tell stories. We know I think we've done a pretty good job of figuring out where the line is, and just letting guys kind of do it on their own. But there's definitely some chirps here and there.
That always was interesting to me to figure out if that was a chirp, because I feel it's hey, whatever, I'm being successful doing two things.
It's a low hanging fruit, really, if someone wanted to go grab it, I guess.
Exactly.
Just got to have some ammo ready on everybody else.
Yeah.
Deej, you got anything else?
Paul, are you gonna fight Philadelphia again?
We'll see, man. I guess it's kind of somehow it's just turned into a crazy rivalry, two expansion teams. So we'll see, man. I don't know. Points are more important than getting in brawl. So hopefully we can either win the game or maybe we'll get up super big and they'll want to mix it up. So maybe that will happen this time instead of us getting down huge and then starting a melee.
Yeah, the other Paul wasn't too nice about it. You pretty much said it's
Paul
always
Day
y'all.
came on and talked about it.
Yeah,
What is Paulie Day? I love Paulie Day. What do you
Best.
He pretty much said it always was you guys. It always was his Peterborough guys, which made him real interesting.
Yeah, which
to
is
find
like
out.
that's just, and he is a Peterborough guy, which is hilarious. So whatever, I guess we'll take it. I mean, whatever. It probably
Tanner,
works. Yes.
are you excited for the 11 a.m. game you guys have in Philly?
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there. That's going to be an interesting one. I think the last time I played that early was we played at Robert Morris at 11 a.m. Which and like like how their field is structured. It's like on top of a hill. It was freezing, but so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be a fun one, I think, because I think the Flyers play that night. So I don't know if we'll stick around after that game or what, but that'd be kind of cool to hopefully get a win there and then stick around and have some fun. But yeah, it'll be a little weird because it's just like throws off naps and shoot around, and like you're gonna have to get to the arena at like 8 a.m. So I don't know.
Yeah, Philly's got 2 of those games this year, and I'm like, Jesus, I got to be up early as hell to be in the press box.
Yeah, that's it'll be interesting. But I think, and we got an early one against you too, right, Paulie?
Yeah, in
New York.
though. Yeah.
3 p.m.
Not
I think.
not an 11. Not a anything sub noon is like seems
too much.
great, but we'll see.
That's what happens when the Wings have to share an arena with 3 other teams.
Yeah,
It could be good though. Maybe that's the key to success. Get us within like the European soccer crowd at like that time. Maybe the people that are just up on Saturday wanting to watch something. I don't know.
And just an all day ticket. You get one ticket.
Let's keep those fans out of games, though. I know
Yeah.
you've seen them, right? Like,
Yeah, I kind of love that though. I went and watched.
do.
We can use some excitement in the stands, couple flares.
Maybe a couple Roman candles just firing around. Like I don't know, that could get everybody.
Just a couple Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
The juice is flowing.
I'm
One
like
fan.
that sicko. I'm that sicko that like wants the fans to come on the field. I just start swinging my stick,
I think
chopping guys. It's like it's that classic. How many like 10-year-olds could you beat up with a bat? It's
Yeah.
like, how many fans I could take out with a stick?
What's your number?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I'm taking. I take at least 5 down right off the bat.
Right at the fucking kneecaps.
Yeah.
It's going
first swing.
But like we're talking like grown, most likely probably grown human adults, right? 10-year-olds, like it almost be like infinity. So you just your arms get tired, really. But as far as like a sporting event, I think it's 5.
That's why you've been playing so long. You're just waiting for the one game when a streaker decides it's time to go on, and Paulie's just gonna, like a bull seeing red, just railroad track him.
And then hit us with a JJ Watt. Like, oh, yep, this is my last year, guys.
Yeah.
That's the magnum opus. You just walk off.
Take my jersey off right after it. Just put it
on the dead body. And you're out there.
Kevin Crowley told me, he's like, I've never been in a fight in the NLL, and the day I get in a fight is the day I take my jersey off and then I retire.
That would be it for him. Interesting move.
Hey, I've asked the big cat a couple times.
I was gonna say,
knowing fully well he didn't want to fight, but I mean, there's not many people I haven't asked to fight in the league, so that's kind of the question, like who haven't I asked?
Oh, so that's a welcome to the NLL story.
Yeah.
Have you been asked by Paul yet?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a dream fight on the docket?
Lyle Thompson.
No, not really, man. Like again, kind of all my dream. Like I mean, I wouldn't really say they're dream fights, but when I first came to the league, that's when like it was kind of the who's who of tough guys, and I kind of fought them all. So I kind of all that. So
He's got the belt on his shoulder walking into warm-ups.
I got the belt, but I showed up for most of them. So yeah, kind of. I don't know. There's no real dream one anymore, but we'll see.
You and Lordy.
Messenger?
No, I never fought Mess. No.
I feel like that'd be a pretty decent.
Yeah. That'd be. I mean, he's a mountain man, so big, strong lad. So yeah, I'm sure it'd be good for sure. I don't know if I got it in me. I'm getting older.
I was gonna say, give it a shot. Give it a go.
Young kids.
He's got that battle paint on though. Like he's just like born to fight. Like he looks like Braveheart going out there.
they're all nuts. Every single one of them.
Sicko mode.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is always a blast, boys. I think it's a fun tradition that we've sparked up,
Yeah.
This.
Yes.
and everybody go listen to Back of the Bird. It's one of the best podcasts out there, not just lacrosse, but it's entertaining as hell, and we appreciate you guys. And when you guys are in Philly, we'll have to link up and everything
Yeah,
before the
100%,
game.
boys. Yeah.
100%. Love it.
Have a good New Year, everybody,
Yeah,
and
boys.
we'll see everybody in 2023.
You guys enjoy yourselves. Appreciate it.
And we back. Shout out to the Back of the Bird boys. It's always fun chopping it up with them, man. We were talking before we started recording this episode, because we recorded with them earlier. Didn't even feel like an hour. Did not even feel like an hour that we were chopping it up with them, and got into some fun discussions that I don't even think we planned on, which was fun. So it's always fun chopping it up with them. I'm gonna, especially when both Rochester and New York come to Philly, it's gonna be fun linking up with them. So shout out to Back of the Bird. Go listen, subscribe, download their pod as well. They're part of the OTB universe.
The OTB.
The OTB Podomatic universe.
Yeah, we gotta find a name for that and give people. Yeah, we gotta turn that into it. We'll work on that. Oh man, it was fun getting into some of the stuff about sixes and box and women's game and travel and just all that kind of stuff is, getting them away from the game and talking just broad and bigger, not just themselves. It's always fun to see what they think outside of business.
And it's always fun, when we have guests on and then, they come on again and it's you legitimately, have, that friendship with them now. And it's not just, a guest. Your friend, they're, I would consider Paul Dawson and Dan Lomas homies.
1,000%. Homies.
So shout out to the boys. Go listen to Back of the Bird. They're doing fantastic. Some of their interviews have been killer. So go check those out. They do a fantastic job. Deej, we got the list. Ladies and gentlemen, we got them. Colin Squires confirmed on Twitter, too, that he knows OTB records on Thursdays, so he waited, allegedly, for Thursday to release the list. The Colin Squires 2022 airline rankings are here, and I know this is way more important as of right now for DJ, with all the flying he does. Should I start from the bottom and go to the top, or start from the top and go to the bottom?
I think we got to start at the top and go to the bottom.
Have you seen the list?
I have.
Okay.
It's, in my opinion, hilarious and also pretty spot on.
So here is the official 2022 airline power rankings brought to you by Colin Squires. Number 1, Delta.
Expensive.
Number 2, Alaska.
Why am I ever flying Alaska Airlines?
Number 3, Southwest.
Solid.
Fumbled. He did say Southwest fumbled the bag, obviously, with everything going on with them here around the holidays, and dropped 2 spots in the power rankings, but still stayed in the top 3 to end the year. Number 4, shout out to a homie of mine, Vicky Cox, who works for this company as a flight attendant. JetBlue.
I haven't tried them out yet. I'm gonna have to look into.
They are the one that I hear phenomenal things about.
That's what I've heard.
So shout out JetBlue. No free ads, but shout out. Number 5, American.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Number 6, United.
Those are interchangeable. So yeah.
And that's your top 6. Then we have a little bit of a gap here, and we jump to number 12, Frontier.
Hey, shit, I feel like the gap a little shorter than it need to be. That might even need to be 20.
Well, number 19, Deej, is Ride a Camel.
Yeah, Frontier should have been behind that. Go ahead, ride that camel first.
I need to know. I do need Colin to clarify. Is it a 1-hump or a 2-hump camel?
It's got to be 2.
And is it the one from the Geico commercial? Mike.
Oh, day.
Then we have a big gap.
Huge jump.
We go to number 54 from 19. Number 54. Ice skate. It's a seasonal airline.
List the things up, boy.
It's a seasonal airline. You can only do that a couple times a year. That's one of those treat yourself things during the holidays.
Screaming.
And then we have another jump, but no spacing in the jump. Number 70. Spirit Airlines. Now owned by JetBlue.
What did I tell you the first time? I mentioned
Let them know,
anything
Deej.
about Spirit.
Let them know.
You fly Spirit, you go turn into one.
You know what's hilarious?
I wholeheartedly agree with that statement.
2 flights I've taken in my life. Two of the three like going to flights were Spirit. I'm still here.
Are you sure?
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor.
So the official 2022 airline rankings from Colin Squires. Real rapid fire. Number 1, Delta. Number 2, Alaska. Number 3, Southwest. Number 4, JetBlue. Number 5, American. Number 6, United. Number 12, Frontier. Number 19, Ride a Camel. Number 54, Ice Skate. And number 70, Spirit Airlines. We'll remember this, and we'll do the power rankings every single year. But congratulations to Delta. And congrats to the top 6, I would say.
I'm going to have to just bust out that money and fly Delta for one time and figure out what it's about. Because
I think, and I mean, if any of these airlines in the top 6 want to sponsor us,
hey,
Deej is the perfect spokesman for an airline sponsor.
I be flying. So
he do be flying.
If you want some
He's
promo,
like a bird. He wants to fly away.
you want some promo, I'll be up in the airport, like about to get on my Delta flight.
Yep.
I'm not going out of Midway anymore. But TSA here is fast, do they thing. That's what happens when you fly Delta because they got their own concourse.
True. The Delta Lounge.
Like, man, I'm telling you, I'm good at this thing. I write commercials for my job, my day job. I does this. If y'all want, hit me up. I will drop the digits.
So there that is. And then last topic before we wrap up for 2022. Jack Rowlett's autograph hunting in Disney right now. He tweeted, on the plane to Disney, 48-hour mission is to collect as many autographs from Disney characters as I can in that time. We'll report back. So we will have the update in 2023 to kick things off on next week's episode. But Deej, rapid fire, top 3, not exactly a Squire 6, it will be collectively, top 3 autographs you'd want from a Disney character.
Daffy.
Daffy's Warner Brothers. You mean Donald?
Yeah. Whatever his name is. Donald. Goofy. And probably Mickey. Is it bad that I would want more Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon? I would want a ton of Nickelodeon. I was trying so hard to think of Disney characters.
Give me Goofy. Give me Darth Vader.
Damn.
And give me Woody from Toy Story. I think Woody uses the stamp though because Woody's hands can't hold a pen. But give me Woody. I have 2 autograph books from the 2 times I went to Disney. I should flick through those and see who I've got.
You probably got a nice little bit.
Probably do. Shout out Jack Rowlett, though. We'll wrap up here. Deej 2022 coming to a close. Final episode here of 2022. It was one hell of a year for the boys. What do you think is like when we look back and say, like, you know, the year of blank was 2022 for us? 2022 is the year of blank.
Year of growth.
I agree.
I think we steadily went up in audience and viewership, but like we grew closer with the amount of time that I was out. We were on the road together, and like our travel stories grew. Like literally everything, you know.
Just wait till we write a book,
right? You know, we got new guests on, so like that, like just everything that we did this year was in terms of growth. That's really where it ended up being.
I think 2022 for me is the year of legitimacy. I think this year was like the year that like I really felt like we hit that legit marker. You know, getting the shout out from Mike Rabel on Twitter. The Water Dogs inviting us with open arms to go hang out with them, party with them after winning a championship. Ryan Brown telling us that he and Michael Sowers listen to the pod while they're studying game film was ridiculous. You know, getting invited to media day for the championship was crazy. You know, and just the amount of like people who recognize what we do and like see us on the road, give us, you know, food advice for different cities and stuff like that, like the little things. It was like, damn, we got a kick-ass fan base. We got a kick-ass following. And like, it really, like 2021 was like, we were sniffing it and like had a ton of fun. And then this year was like, holy shit, like one of those, like, we're fucking legit.
We're here.
So that's what I'm going to look back on 2022, you know, just like kicking it with people that we wouldn't have even thought of kicking it with, especially after the championship game.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. You know, like Chase Frazier, too, telling us, like, he listens on the plane. Like, stuff like that, like, it's very minuscule and very minor, but, like, to us, that's like, holy shit, like, that's really fucking cool.
Right. Like, this guy could be listening to all kind of things as he's prepping for a weekend, and he's choosing to listen to me talk about how good I think these guys are, or really chastising half of them for how bad I think they played in the past week and a half. So, like,
or me forgetting to mention him.
Yeah, right. Like, you know, it's so cool that these guys will take the time to listen to our words and one, not get offended by it and think that it's really cool for what, you know, we're doing for them in this sport, and to enjoy it and constantly come back and listen and then take the time out to say something to us when they see us, or just be like, hey, you guys are doing your shit and it's awesome. Keep it up. Like, it goes a lot farther than people think.
And it's just motivation for us to like keep getting better than what we are. And it is cool that like we'll invite guests on and then they'll come back and it's like they want to be on. Like they want to come on this show, which is pretty fucking cool. Like there's not many podcasts out there that like, yes, it is a like niche type of thing with lacrosse right now, but like there's not many podcasts that are our stature level, which is not huge, but we have a following where people are like banging down the door to like, hey, can I come on the show? So that's pretty freaking cool. People seeing our tweets, like Kieran shouting us out in the press conference.
Yeah,
that was like the ultimate. This is also the year of Kieran McCardle. This is the year of Kieran as well for us.
Kieran year.
That adds to the legitimacy thing. We've been banging the drum and sounding the horn for Kieran for years, and finally got his flowers, which was very cool. We've done it for Chase Frazier in the past before you came on the show, and then, you know, since you've been on, like, we've been doing it for Chase, and People finally realize Chase is a fucking good lacrosse player. So I wonder who we're going to be banging the drum for in 2023. Who's to say? We'll figure it out as that time gets here. Right now, it kind of feels like Connor Fields. Even though he's had that like thing, I feel like that's like carryover from college, and he hasn't really gotten the pro flowers like he deserves, like he's getting now.
I think he did. Just with his time in chaos after Miles left, like he was like I mentioned to the Back in the Bird guys, like it's about him like getting that room to be quote unquote the man. Like that's just who he is as a player, especially in field. Like he's not used to not having the ball. So like I think just that's where his studded growth comes in the PLO in my opinion. It's just the need to play off ball in such a curated offense. If he goes to Cannons, he could.
Hey, we can give flowers for both styles.
Oh, 100%. I just don't think.
I'm saying right now, box wise, it's feeling like the year of Connor Fields.
Oh, box wise, 100% it's the year of Connor Fields because he's back in that role of being quote unquote the man. Like he has the ball in his stick a lot more than he did in Buffalo.
Trying to see here. Let's see. I'm just like looking at PLL cards right now. Just sifting through who it could be the year of. I really thought, Jackson Morill. I thought it was going to be him. Obviously, they go and get 2 fucking superstar rookies, so like that kind of prohibited that a little bit. I mean, low key, it's not going to be massive because of the team he plays on. 2023 might be a little bit of a Ryan Smith year for your boy. Chaos-wise, I think he's going to take a bigger role. That obviously remains to be seen because we are 6 months away from PLL game action.
And if Rochester keeps playing the way they're playing, he's going to be a little burnt.
He looking nice, though. Shout out Smithers.
I think it might be one of
He's taking a big step box-wise this year.
I think it's one of those years that we're going to latch on to a rookie.
Could be, too.
And we're going to have to ride a rookie for a few years before things really pop off. Because, just looking around, I don't see, especially, on the defensive side, I don't see anyone who hasn't necessarily gotten the flowers defensively. Because, you look at, people who are kind of, just now popping out. JT got his flowers, 100%. Garrett had already had his from his previous time. Mike Manley already had his from previous time. Graham, Scott, all these guys have already been acknowledged as that player in terms of defensively. So there's no one really to push on the defensive side. And then offensively, it's so hard to tell because of how saturated all the offenses are. So it's we probably are looking at a rookie. Or maybe a face-off guy. Maybe we're super pushing a face-off guy this year. Or maybe even Dawson.
Might be the year. If he gets traded, might be the year Tucci Mane.
Yeah. Or maybe even Brett Dawson. I wouldn't mind riding Brett Dawson this year.
Hey, we are still pro Adam Gittleman, though, for everybody at home listening.
100%. But
that's the guy.
Hey. Or maybe the Woods grab someone new.
Give us that Caraway.
Oh, no. I was talking about goalie. I was referencing the goalie position. I mean, I'm not opposed to Jake Caraway putting on a regular string. But, yeah, I was just talking about a goalie play.
I would say,
I would imagine Alex Rode gets drafted by someone this year.
Yeah.
That kid is a stud.
Probably. Well, I mean, a lot of this is also going to depend on free agency being a thing now, too, because I think one of the bigger names, obviously, and this is obviously all coming in 2023 for everybody. We're 3 months away from free agency. Nick Morocco's a free agent, so. And Cannons are now, Nick Morocco's guy was Sean Quirk. He's no longer there. What does that mean for Nick Morocco? in terms of, him returning to the Cannons or going to a different team. Like, there's a lot to be answered with free agency, so a lot of stuff to look forward to in 2023. I thank everybody for listening each and every week. You're a big reason why Deej and I continue to go on these long rambles of 2-hour episodes, and just, you guys listen, so that's what's up. This is like, Deej and I text during the week, and it's like, man, can't wait for Thursday. Because that's when we record, and, we've been doing this show for 4 years. We're going on year 5 of this one, too, at the end of 2023, which is fucking insane. Shout out to Dom for sparking the idea of doing a lacrosse podcast because the Wings were coming back. Who would have thunk that would change the trajectory of, just my life and sports fandoms and this company's direction in terms of, pillars, and it's fucking crazy. It leaves me speechless every time I think about it. So thank you guys so much for supporting us and rocking with us, and sharing every episode with your people. Because it does mean a lot. It really does. DJ and I want we want OTB to be part of our career. That's our goal with Underground, is that's the career, that we're going to an HQ every day and we're making dope shit with the people that we get a chance to, create with every single day of the week here, and make it our career, get paid for it, and really make some magic happen. And OTB is a big part of that happening. So truly cannot thank every listener, every fan that we ran into this summer, the entire PLL and NLL, front office people and behind the scenes people who support us, social media managers across the board in both leagues, and every single player and coach that comes on the show, that listens to the show. It's wild, and I truly don't know if there's an actual word or words to describe how awesome it is, the support that we get, but thank you guys so much for one hell of a 2022. And best believe, we're coming back bigger and better than ever in 2023, so don't get it twisted.
Yeah, no. I had an amazing year this year.
First full year for you.
Yeah, first full year in from January 1st to the end of until the end of December. So it was exciting to get in and do this. And I wouldn't be able to travel multiple times in a year and get out and watch games and do all this stuff if you guys weren't listening. So it's big ups to you guys, big props. I very much appreciate it. And it's fun doing this stuff. Just getting on and shooting the shit for you guys to aimlessly listen to and probably ignore me and tell me that I'm outlandish.
Or roast us.
Literally roast me for being outlandish and having the wildest of views most of the time. But that's what this is for, just to get the views out there and let y'all know that I'm crazy and I support you. And thank you for supporting me. Go Woods. And if you have a reason why I should pick your favorite NLL team,
2023 could be the year of you having a fandom.
It could be.
That's pretty crazy.
But if you got a reason for me to be a fan of your team, drop it below. Maybe I'll take it into consideration. Maybe not, though.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Obviously, this is a 2-hour episode, but Deej, we teased the OTB cast potentially for Friday night with a massive card opening. Should we do something for the real ones right now? Should I open one pack for the real ones that listened all the way through?
That's actually not a bad idea.
Because you'll know. Tweet me, hashtag OTB RIP. No, because that means we're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Even though rips are what they call these. Tweet me, hashtag 1pack. Deej, give me a number. 1, 2... Give me a number 1 to 22.
12.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Number 12, right here. For the real ones. What if we get like the most ridiculous hit in this pack?
That would be insane. But it would be so on brand and worth it.
Oh, man. Make sure you guys are following us at OTB Laxpod, Twitter and Instagram. You'll know if the OTB cast is going down. We're like 75% sure it will be. But we want the interest there. We don't want just 2 people showing out. Because we're going to do, Manning cast style of commentary on the game, and then we're going to open a shit ton of packs as well throughout. So come on out and support if you want the OTB cast. OTB Laxpod, Twitter and Instagram. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_next. Follow me at KBIZZL311 on Twitter. Subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leave the 5-star reviews. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Subscribe. YouTube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Smash the like button. Ring the bell icon. Comment down below. #1pack. And here we go. Deej, we're starting off with a new guy.
Oh.
A friend of the program, Cade Van Raphorst.
Okay.
#all name team. We got another member of the Bulls, Michael Rexroad.
Okay.
Ooh, I like this photo. I don't know if you pulled that, but Serge.
Ooh. Okay.
That's nice. We did get a hit. Rainbow foil. Mikey Schlosser. Love it.
I think I have that exact same card.
Love that. Not numbered or anything, but Mikey Schlosser. We got Justin Anderson from the Chrome Boys, the Beauties. We got Get in the Zone, Christian Mazzone. We got, at this time, Heacock on Peacock.
Hey.
I don't know if we pulled that photo. That's an alternate art, Heacock.
Maybe that's the one I have.
He's like screaming.
Not sure.
And then we got Arden Cohen rookie card.
Hey.
That's solid. Don't know what number he's wearing, though, so that's unfortunate.
I think I have that one, now that you say that, because I don't think I know what one he's wearing in mine either.
So that's pretty sweet. So we got the Arden rookie card, the Mikey foil. And then we got friend of the program, Cade Van Raphorst. And then that Surge card is pretty sweet as well.
Yeah, no, that Surge card is nice. And I have so is the Mikey.
So there it is, the real ones. #1pack. But this has been episode number 254. Shout out to the Back of the Bird boys as well, once again, for the collabo. And this has been episode number 254 of the allegedly award-nominated, number 9 ranked NCAA and Shrek ranked official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network, and of course viewable on YouTube. Outside the Box podcast. For Deej, I'm KB, and until 2023, we're getting the heck out of here. Peace.
Peace.